fatigue or gas? What will today's symptom be? My Loopy Life with Lupus.
Hey guys. I'm sorry that this is gonna be kind of a sad video. I just thought I don't think I've ever really how do I say this? I've never really allowed myself to get really emotional on camera. Because I'm always trying to stay positive. And I want to, inspire people. But I also wanted to, it is Lupus Awareness Month, and I thought that it would be good to show the side of lupus that just makes things suck. So, I didn't really want to do this today though, because I gotta go to work in a couple of hours, and I don't want my eyes to be all puffy, but, I don't even know where to start. I've just basically been, really not doing good the last few weeks emotionally for some reason. I don't I've been feeling pretty good in terms of my joint pain, and even the grogginess. Like, I don't seem to be getting the grogginess anywhere from the methotrexate, so the lower dose seems to have helped with the side effects, and it's still doing its job for my joints, which is great. But my jaw pain has been non-stop, basically, and I called them to see if they could give me an idea where I was on the list, and they said that they can't tell me that. Like, they really don't have a way to give me that information, that they just have this list and they just go down it and call the people as appointments come available. And I said, well, I've been on the list since January, and they said it can take up to 6 months, so there was really nothing they could do. There was no new information they could give me, no idea when my appointment will be for these injections, and so that's been frustrating. And so on top of that, the main thing is just, you can be positive all you want, and it works most of the time. Excuse me. I know I look like crap. I just woke up. So, lupus has just made me feel very stuck in life. Because I want to be able to work full time so that we have more income coming in, so that we can afford a bigger place. When I went to visit my friend Emily and see her new baby, she was trying to tell me, like, her apartment right now is smaller than ours, and that we could, if we really make sacrifices and just store some of our stuff away, that we could have room for a child in here. And yes, it's true, we could, if we got rid of a lot of stuff or stored things away. However, I don't really want to raise a child in a basement apartment, because for me, I just don't like the fact that we don't get a lot of natural light. it already really bothers me that Riley can't even sit in the window. And I know, like, when the sun shines in our front door, he will often go and sit on the sunspot on the carpet in front of it. And he'll sit there and sunbathe in the sun that way. And I feel bad for him that that's the only place he can get that. So I guess, you know, like when we moved in here, it was more like, wow, this is like really cheap rent that includes all the utilities. Like for Toronto and for a basement apartment, we have a good deal. The price has gone up in rent over the years, but it's still, you know, a really good price, considering what I've seen in other apartment buildings. And I like the fact that we don't have stairs that go down into the basement. We just walk right in, and there's one little step down, and that's it. Whereas, like, the thing I worry about if going into an apartment building is, what if the elevator breaks down and we're high up, like, and I can't climb it? So there's so many different things to think of and obstacles. And then, you know, getting a house, I worry about because there's so much more. It's just more space to clean and upkeep, and, you know, Alex helps, but I don't want everything to be on him. I do want to be able to do some stuff myself. It would have to be a bungalow because I don't want to have a lot of stairs to deal with in case I flare. So, you know, it's just lupus. You know, anytime I tried to go back to working full time, the lupus flares. And then I start to feel really sick, and then I start to feel like I have no life. I start to feel like all I have is working and coming home, and then there's nothing left of me, for my husband, and for my family. And so working part-time has helped me in that way, so that I feel at least 80% well most of the time, where I can function and I can actually contribute and do things and go out sometimes with friends and visit family. So working part-time is helping my health a great deal. But I just can't see how we can afford a bigger place, whether that be renting another apartment or buying a house or a condo or whatever. I don't know how we can afford that with our current income. And so with that said, if we can't even afford a bigger place, how can we afford a child on top of a bigger place with our current financial situation? The one good thing for us is that we're out of debt. We have absolutely zero debt. And our financial advisor has told us that we're rare, that not many people our age can say they have zero debt. So that's one thing that puts my mind at ease, because we literally have no debt and we've kept it that way. We're able to pay off our bills every month, and that's great. But, you know, I really, really want to move forward in life, and I feel like lupus is just this big roadblock right now. I mean, even when it comes to having a real baby, which I want to so bad, like, I want to experience pregnancy, and I want to, like, experience what it feels like to be pregnant and feel like a baby moving and all that stuff. And I've just been, I don't know why I torture myself this way, but I watch, like, Ellie and Jared, and and I watched Daily Bumps, and, you know, Ellie just gave birth, and the birth vlog I watched twice, even though it, like, depressed the crap out of me. It was, like, I was so happy for her. I was bawling my eyes out because I was so happy for them, and it was such a beautiful video, the way that he edited it and everything. It was beautiful. But at the same time, it just made me want that all the more. So I don't know why I torture myself by watching these kinds of videos. But I feel like I want it so bad, and I don't know how to get there because of lupus. I just don't know. I'm on methotrexate right now. I can't get pregnant while taking methotrexate, and I always think, like, what happens if I try to go off methotrexate to get pregnant? Am I going to get really sick? Because so far this seems to be the only medication that has really, really helped my joint pain. And so I worry about the time when I come off of it. What if I get sick? I've often heard stories of women going into remission during pregnancy and saying that they have felt the healthiest they have ever felt during pregnancy. But then they give birth, and after giving birth, they have a huge flare and are very sick. And you know, as much as I want to have a baby and be a mom, I am scared to death of complications that can arise because it is a high-risk pregnancy with lupus. But I'm also scared to death of just, and this applies to whether I have my own biological child or if we ever did think to adopt, instead of putting my body through the pregnancy. Adoption, it doesn't matter. My biggest fear is getting sick and not being able to properly care for my child. That is one of my biggest fears, is, you know, having a huge lupus flare and not being able to take care of my child. So these are all things that just are constantly going through my mind, and I'm trying to figure out how I cannot let the lupus win at this and how I can get what I want. And I just don't know. Like, I have no idea where to start. One thing I am wanting to start with is getting rid of stuff. I know that we have way too much stuff, not just stuff for the dolls. I'm talking just stuff. I have a lot of arts and crafts supplies. Half of them I don't use, and I probably won't. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I probably won't use them because there's too much. I'm overwhelmed by the amount that I have, so it's like when I decide to make a card or something, it's like, what do I use first? So I think I'm gonna really try to get rid of stuff there, so it's not as overwhelming for me. I'm also gonna go through everything that we have in storage. We have so much stuff in our storage room, and it drives Alex nuts every time we have to pull it all out just to get to the Christmas decorations. There's a lot of stuff that I have in there from when I was doing doll shows, and I can't see me doing doll shows anymore because I'm very slow at reborning now, just because of my schedule and my health. So I tend to make one reborn at a time, and you know, it's either a custom order or it's one that goes for sale in my Etsy shop. And I never seem to have stock these days to do a doll show, and the tables are so expensive anyway. And the only doll show that's close to us is the London Doll Show, which is far to drive, and the tables are getting pricier there. And then the Made by Hand show, the tables have gone up so much there, and I feel like I never sell at them anyway, so I feel like it's just throwing money away. So I think I'm gonna get rid of all of the stuff that I have to do doll shows. Like I have these 2 big bins that we would use to create the dolls to the show, and I have like the tablecloth, and I have flyer stands and all this stuff, and I think I'm just going to get rid of all of that and get that out of there. And display racks and things like that. And then I'm really thinking of cutting down my doll collection a great deal. I feel like I might bond better with the dolls if I had less. And so I'm really contemplating that, but it's not something that I'll rush into. I just want to make sure that I'm good with that decision. And then definitely like getting rid of a lot of baby stuff, like, and trying to really narrow down the clothes and not buy more. Just so that we have less things, you know, like, so that we have more space here. But again, I don't know if I want to have a kid in here. But where was I going with this? I don't even know. I'm just rambling and just needed to get it out. And I just wanted to share some of the realities of lupus, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And so I wrote the other day on Facebook that I feel stuck. And this is why. These are all the reasons why. And so my mom, she called me all worried. What do you mean? What do you mean you feel stuck? What's wrong? And I just didn't want to get into it on the phone with her, because I had already talked to Alex about this several times, and I just didn't want to hear me going on about it again. So she said, well, just like message me or something and tell me what it is, because I'm worried. And, you know, I just basically said it has to do with my health and how I feel like my health is holding me back from moving forward in life, blah, blah, blah. But God. So this morning, Alex was up and getting ready for work, and I had my phone charging. And when he unplugged my phone, he saw that my mom had responded to me, and he saw like a small portion of what she wrote. And I don't know what part of her message he read, but he saw some part of it that I guess bothered him. So he told me he wanted to see the whole thing. So he read it with me. And so now I'm even more stressed out, because the thing is that he's always had a feeling that my mom doesn't like him, and her message practically confirmed that. And so now he feels like crap, and I feel like crap because, I mean, we've been together for 12 years. We've been married for 6. And he's an awesome guy, and I just don't... I don't understand why she doesn't see it. I mean, yeah, sure, like, sometimes I complain about certain things, But who doesn't? Like, who doesn't sometimes have complaints? But all in all, he's an awesome guy. I mean, considering he's had to deal with me being sick, from the time, basically from right after we got married. I mean, we didn't expect any of this to happen so quickly. I mean, it was literally a couple of weeks after our honeymoon that I got sick. And so we never expected any of this. And I think, it was really hard for him at the beginning because he didn't really understand a lot of how I felt or what was going on. And, it hurt him to see me barely able to walk and in so much pain, and we couldn't get an answer from the doctors, and he was, I don't know. Anyways, the fact of the matter is that he has a lot on him with all of this. I try to do as much as I can around the house on my own in terms of cleaning and stuff. But if I ever need his help in cleaning, he's right there to do it. I mean, he sometimes, like his job is to do vacuuming every weekend, and he pretty much will always do it. And if he doesn't do it on the weekend, he'll do it like a day or two later without me saying anything. And I'm fine with that. And it's funny, like sometimes I'll pull out the vacuum to go and vacuum because I want to, try and do stuff. And he'll come in and he'll be like, no, let me vacuum. And, sometimes I'll argue with him and be like, no, I want to do it because I want to, I don't want to feel like I can't do anything, So, I mean, he helps me, like, all the time. I mean, he cooks dinners a lot of the time. He does a lot of the cleaning. I mean, he does a lot. And, when I'm not feeling well and I'm on the couch or whatever, he always, asks me if I need anything. Do I want him to get anything for me? I mean, he brings me my pills, my heating pad. Like, I can wake him up in the middle of the night if I'm in pain, and he'll go and get me whatever I need. So he's awesome that way. He puts up with all these dolls everywhere, and he doesn't complain or say, like, geez, like, stop getting dolls. Like, like, he's a really good guy, and he treats me well. And I don't understand why it was just the stuff that she wrote. I know she was trying to be supportive, and she was trying to offer suggestions of, how we can get there, but it seemed like most of the message was about, why doesn't Alex do this or do that? Like, Alex should try and find a better paying job, like, that'll support both of you in case it comes to the point that I can't work at all, and this and that. And it's like, well, he has a job, and he's moved up from when he first started working there. He's moved up a great deal. He's the only person that's gotten a raise because he asks for it every year. So, like, they get, like, their typical raise every year, but he always asks for more and gets it. And so, like, it's not like he's not trying to make more money. Like, he is. But the fact is like, if he leaves this company to start with another company, then he's starting from the bottom again. And he's, we wouldn't have health benefits right away, because you usually have to wait a few months of working with the company to even get benefits. And a lot of companies nowadays are just doing contract positions where you don't get benefits at all. That's actually how it was from the first few years at this company that he's at. The first few years we had no benefits at all, because he was on contract. And then finally they gave him a permanent position where he got benefits. But up until then, we were really struggling because I was on a drug called Myfortic for a while. And that thing was literally $500 a month. Yeah, $500 a month. And we had no coverage at all on that. We had to pay the full $500 out of pocket every month. So, so we've come a long way, and I mean, at least we don't have debt and stuff. And so, yeah, so now, like the thing with lupus is you have to keep your stress down as best you can, because stress can flare the disease. And so now I'm stressed because of this thing between my mom and Alex. And, I don't understand why it's always been this way, because he is a good guy and he treats me well. He takes good care of me. He does so much around here and stuff. So, I don't know. Because my mom was even saying that she can't picture him being a dad because she thinks he won't be hands-on and that it'll be left up to me. She says getting a house is a bad idea because she doesn't think he'll want to do the yard work and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I feel so guilty because he didn't sign up for any of this. He was supposed to get a healthy wife that could do normal things, and we could have a normal life, and we would be at that place. He didn't sign up for any of this, and he's still here. I've heard of so many lupus patients where their husband just walks out on them, and I know he will never do that. And so, sorry guys, I just want to make sure that people realize that about him, that he is a really good guy. And I do love him so much. And yeah, I mean, there's been other issues too with me, not just lupus. There's been some other health things that I won't get into because it's too private, but there's been a lot of stuff that he's had to deal with as a guy, and I'm shocked, to be quite honest, that he's still with me after all of that. So, I mean, if that tells you anything, that he's a good guy. And I just wish that people could see that. And so now, we have this lupus walk on Saturday. My dad's actually coming, which is, he came once before to one of the walks a couple of years ago, but he hasn't been since, so that's nice that he's coming. But now it's just gonna be weird at the walk because, Alex knows how my mom feels, and he's not happy about it, and it's just, I don't know. I thought things were getting better with that whole situation, but obviously not. And I just don't know how to get them. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know. I just don't know. I want them to get along, and I want them to like each other, because that just adds stress to me knowing that they don't. So anyways, guys, I've gone on long enough rambling and crying, and I'm so sorry about that, but I really wanted to, this is Lupus Awareness Month, and this is part of lupus. Sometimes you just have an emotional breakdown. Sometimes it just seems like you go in circles and you just, I don't know. And you just feel stuck. You just feel like you can't figure it out. You can't figure out what the next step is, and I don't know. I just take it day by day, but there comes a point where you want to try and decide what's the first step that I need to take to get, towards my ultimate goal of being a mom. I get comments all the time. Why don't you get a real kid instead of playing with dolls? Why don't you have a real baby? And it's like, well, it's complicated. It really is. When you have lupus, it's very complicated. The pregnancy is a high-risk pregnancy. There's risk of miscarriage. There's risks of premature birth. There's risks of a heart condition for the baby. I mean, these are rare, but they can happen. I actually belong to a Facebook group for moms with lupus, and quite a few of them have had premature birth. So that's something that seems to be kind of common. And it's the unknown that I don't like. That's the thing with lupus. It's unpredictable. You can't know. I mean, you can feel fine one day, and then you can wake up the next day and be sick as a dog and need to go to the hospital. I mean, we just don't know. And so how can you plan when you don't know what your health is going to be? I mean, I don't know. And yeah, we could say, okay, maybe it would be better health-wise if we just adopt. And yeah, that might be easier on my body to adopt, but it's still, you adopt, but you still have to be able to care for that child. And what if I get really sick? What if at some point I go into a huge flare and I can't care for my child properly? Because I've been there. Like, I was a nanny full time when I was diagnosed with lupus, and I went an entire year. I still don't even know how I made it through that first year where I had no diagnosis and I was barely able to walk. When my hands would get stuck in this position because I couldn't bend them or straighten them, they were so swollen and so painful. And you try bathing a child, like I had to give this little boy his bath every night before his mom got home, and trying to bath him, like there was days where I actually just skipped bathing him because I just could not. At least he was old enough that he could climb into the tub himself, so I didn't have to lift him. But being able to actually like wash his hair or wash his body when your hand is frozen in a position like this, I could barely do it. I could barely get it done. And yes, I know probably having my own child would be a completely different situation to being a nanny, because being a nanny, it's all on me. But having a child with Alex, we'd share the responsibilities, obviously. So if there's something I couldn't do, obviously he would do it. But I don't know. scares me, the thought of, you know, if he's at work and there's something that I can't do with my child. Like, that just scares me. But anyways, I've rambled on long enough. This is the reality of lupus. This is the crap that goes on in my head. And if you've made it this far, I commend you. And I thank you for listening to me ramble. And just pray for me, please. Just pray that we can figure out something, and pray for my mom and pray for Alex that they can find a way to see the good in each other. I don't know, because I really don't need to be dealing with any kind of like family feud going on, because that'll just make things worse for me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. I had someone on one of my other lupus videos ask me how lupus affects me. And I've actually done a video about this before. I did it last year. So that would have been 2014. I did it for Lupus Awareness Month in May. And so I thought, well, I'll do an updated version of that because things probably changed since then. But I actually just went back and